how does the immune system work with the digestive system? If you have been looking for ways to boost your immune system, then I am sure you have run across information about gut health too. If that sounds familiar, then you are in the right place. I'm here to answer that question in today's video, so let's get started. Hi, I'm Dr. Kelly Shockley, Doctor of Cause, Chiropractic, board certified in sports medicine, and specialized in clinical nutrition. In this video, we're going to go over the hidden connection between gut health and immune health. These two systems have so much influence over one another, neither one should be neglected. Then we'll discuss the most important fact you need to know about boosting your immune system that your MD will not mention. There is a lot of confusion around this topic and no longer needs to be. And finally, I'll be sharing with you the behind closed doors methods that will allow you to know your current exact level of health, what's causing any potential current health issues, and the exact plan for moving forward, reclaiming your health, and boosting your immune system and everything else. Let's dive right on in. Let's talk about this hidden connection between the gut and your immune's health. First off, what you need to know is majority of your immune system, somewhere between 70 to 90%, depending on what site you source, lives in your gut. So the level of health of your gut very much so influences the level of health of your immune system and vice versa, since that's where it dwells. Now, one of the things that's really cool about the body and how it's been designed is your gut is your first line of defense. Picture your gut as a row of military men, all locked arms, not letting anybody pass them unless they receive word from chief in command that that person or that thing is allowed to cross past them. This is how your gut works. Your gut is literally one cell layer thick, and there's cells that are attached, they're in series if you think about it. They receive messages via different chemicals and hormones and all this fun stuff that tell them to break their attachment. Okay, these attachments are called tight junctions if you want the technobabble term. Just think of it as your military, all of a sudden they drop arms, and now whoever is allowed to enter behind them into the bloodstream can pass through. But because of the world we live in now and all of the environmental factors, the stress, the lack of quality in our food supply, maybe not getting enough sleep, different aspects about what your lifestyle looks like, our military that's supposed to be protecting us as its first line of defense may be slipping up a little bit, unfortunately. They may be getting lazy and dropping arms when they're not receiving a signal from the chief in command. And what that does is it allows people or things to enter that weren't really supposed to enter. This happens in the gut similarly, where the cell will open up that tight junction and allow partially digested proteins, bad bacteria, genetically modified organisms, sugar alcohols, all these things that are not supposed to end up in the bloodstream. It allows them in. Well, what's the point of all of this? That when this concept occurs in the body, which it's occurring in about 80% of Americans right now, it's known as leaky gut. The problem with leaky gut is the gut was no longer doing its job as the first line of defense. So your body, everything about it, incredibly intelligent. Your immune system is in the bloodstream, essentially right behind the gut lining, or right behind your military. You've got your police officers. Thankfully, they're there because when something enters in that's not supposed to be there, it's recognized as a foreign invader. Well, now the police set off an alert to be like, hey, we have a foreign invader. We need to get this guy taken care of, kick him out, dispose of him, whatever we're going to do with him, eat him. That's what the immune system does as well. So the immune system sits right there as your backup defense for foreign invaders. And what's interesting about this immune reaction is that it can happen locally in the gut, and that's why you end up with some gut symptoms, whether it's gas and bloating, constipation, diarrhea, cramping, or that immune response, like the bad guys have been released into your bloodstream. It's like you're in a high-speed chase down the highway, and the police are going after them. And let's say the bad guy ends up in your brain. Well, if the police finally capture him in your brain, there is still this chaos and response that's happening. That person ends up with symptoms related to brain health. So fog, brain fog, lack of focus and concentration, issues with memory, not being able to sleep well at night, migraine headaches. Or maybe the bad guy took the highway that went to your shoulder or to your knee. And now you get the bad guy caught there. And this whole response happens. And now you have unexplained knee pain or shoulder pain. So it's fascinating how this works. And we're realizing that there's so much connection between these two systems, and how Hippocrates even said, like, all disease occurs or begins in the gut. So between these two systems, it's your first line and your second line of defense, and they're married together. And in order for you to have the strongest immune system you can, you have to make sure that your gut is as strong and as healthy as it can be as well, so that the two work in harmony together. Now, I'm curious, did you have any idea that your immune system actually predominantly lives inside of your gut? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. What's the important fact that your MD won't mention? Well, there's a ton of controversy around this, and a lot of this was even shown more over the past year and a half around the concept of, can you actually, in fact, boost your immune system? Unfortunately, there's a lot of people in traditional medicine that do not believe that you can boost your immune system, while there are a lot of us on the other side of medicine that believe absolutely you can boost your immune system. The important detail is you cannot have a bulletproof immune system with only focusing on the immune system. You have to at least be looking at the gut and its integrity as well. Now, there's a ton of nutrients out there that work to give the building blocks that the immune system needs in order to function properly. There's plenty of research. If you go in PubMed, which is one of the directories of all this peer-reviewed research, article, journal, you name it. Gosh, it's a lot of technobabble. It's a lot of technobabble. It even makes my brain explode. But it's there. It shows how vitamin C is effective for the immune system, and vitamin D, people who have adequate levels don't get sick as often, and how zinc actually allows the body to respond the way that it should in an enhanced way compared to otherwise. There's plenty of research that shows this is possible. Okay. We also know, as it relates to the gut, there is this ecosystem that lives in the gut that's known as your microbiome. Your microbiome is not really you. Okay. You're like only 10% of your genetic makeup. The other 90% is this microbiome of all these bugs and critters that live inside of your gut, which is kind of creepy, but it's fascinating. And what we have come to appreciate, because there's still a huge amount of questions we have around the microbiome and how does it influence our level of health. One thing we do know with certainty: people whose microbiomes do not have a lot of diversity, meaning they do not have several different types of strains of bacteria present, they have lower thresholds. They get sick more often. They have more health problems compared to people who have an extreme amount of diversity within this microbiome. So obviously, the microbiome is very much tied into our immune system as well. So taking care of the gut, where the microbiome lives, which is also where the immune system lives, is ultimately going to help you boost your immune system. Now, before I get into the behind closed doors methods that will tell you exactly what your current level of health is, what's been causing any of your health problems, and then how to actually fix them instead of just managing symptoms, I would like to remind you to just click that subscribe button down below, turn the notifications on. That way you never miss a future episode. I am regularly producing more videos about how to improve gut health and boost the immune system, how to improve brain health, you name it, everything to help you be able to take back control of your health and achieve what I like to call total body mastery. So just click that subscribe button down below, turn the notifications on, and you will be set. Awesome. Okay, what is this behind closed doors method that I am talking about that will give you certainty on what is your current level of health? And if you have health problems, what have actually caused those health problems to exist? And then also knowing how to fix them. It's all in the testing. I love to say, if you're not testing, you're guessing. But I should actually add to this, if you're not doing proper testing, then you're guessing. The way that traditional medicine does testing is really kind of sad. I mean, medicine has changed. If you go through and you look at how things were done, 50, even 100 years ago, dramatically different. The standard of care has compartmentalized medicine. So if you have, palpitations or your blood pressure is running high, you have to go see the cardiologist. If you have joint issues, you see the rheumatologist. If your hormones are way off kilter, you see the endocrinologist. If you've got an autoimmune problem, you're going to see the immunologist. If you have brain issues, nerve problems, you see the neurologist, and so on and so forth. They've compartmentalized it. And unfortunately, because of the standard of care, these doctors within these specialties are only allowed to look at what their specialty surrounds. In other words, they have to kind of stay in their lane. So a neurologist is not allowed to do a deep dive and figure out what's going on with their person. If there are other things that are concerning, they have to send them back to another specialist to have the specialist do that. And part of it is because of how insurance in this lovely country works. Insurance is a great predictor of what actually doctors can do. Doctors have to justify to the system why they're ordering the tests that they are. And oftentimes, the way that they justify it is because of the patient and how they're presenting, what symptoms they have. That's how they can decide what tests they can run or what blood work can be done, and so on and so forth. And then insurance also dictates basically what doctors are allowed to order. So unfortunately, the standard of care that our healthcare system operates off of has really put doctors' hands in handcuffs. They're not able to do doctoring the way that it used to be done, where you looked at the whole entire person. What I do is I look at the whole entire person, and other people within this alternative medicine, like we're not in the standard of care, so we can do things really differently. And ultimately what that allows us to do is figure out what is not working in your system. See, your body robs Peter to pay Paul. Okay? So what do I mean by that? If the demands of the body are not being satisfied in each organ system and all the tissues, then your body will self-sacrifice to free up nutrients to areas that are more important for survival, which is kind of crazy, but also fascinating because that keeps us going, even though it may be a little haphazard in its process. So for example, if there was an underlying problem with the liver and then liver's nutrient needs were not being satisfied, do you think the body would sacrifice the liver or maybe would sacrifice the hair, skin, and nails? You can comment down below. You're right. It would sacrifice the hair, skin, and nails. So it would break those down. And those are people that could start experiencing, rashes or dry skin, dry, brittle nails that can never grow, their hair is falling out or thinning. It's because those tissues are being broken down to give nutrients to the underlying liver problem. Or let's think of it this way. If your body had to make a decision of who it was going to keep in good working order, would it pick the liver or would it pick your muscles, your bones, your cartilage, all your connective tissue? You're right, it would pick the liver. The liver has like 500 jobs it does 24/7. And while it's awesome to have your muscles and your bones and your cartilage and all of your joints working the right way, those tissues will be sacrificed. Osteoporosis is not a disease, it's a condition, which ultimately means it's the result of some other problem in the body. So then the last thing, example-wise, I want to give you is what do you think your body would decide is more important, liver or hormones? And this is where people get a little slipped up because we know how awful you feel when your hormones are out of whack. But guess what? The body will break down hormones to give to the liver. And when I'm saying liver, I'm not just meaning liver. I'm also meaning like your brain and your kidneys and your pancreas, like all of your organs. They get top priority for nutrients to be utilized and make sure that their nutrient demands are being satisfied. And if they're not, all these other tissues we just mentioned, you could have major issues with. But in traditional medicine, all they're being allowed to do is focus in on where you have symptoms. So if you have hormone imbalance because of an underlying liver issue, you may not actually have symptoms of a liver problem, but you'll have symptoms of hormones being out of balance. So now you have to focus in on this hormone imbalance and take care of those symptoms. Versus, if you have like your hair is falling out, maybe they're looking at your thyroid in relationship to that. They are not allowed to necessarily look at your liver or your heart or one of the other organs. That's symptom-based versus cause-based. Cause is being able to look at you as a whole all of the time. Okay? It's incredibly important to do proper testing, complete testing. That is ultimately when you will figure out what your current level of health is. The other reason why that is because if you're gauging everything off of symptoms, how you feel is not really the best indicator of how healthy you are. And this is partly because the body has an amazing reserve tank that it will run off of until it gets to the very near bottom before it will give you symptoms. Symptoms come on after something hasn't been working properly. So just a fun fact for you, did you know you could have only 20% liver or kidney function and essentially have no signs, no symptoms of any kidney or liver problems? And get this, you can have a whopping 10% pancreas function and have essentially no signs or symptoms. But each one of those drop 1 more percent and now you're on a liver transplant list or you're on dialysis, or this is probably why pancreatic cancer is an awful prognosis, because it's so, like, the pancreas is so far gone at that point. So symptoms should not dictate what's being done with you or how healthy you think you are either. Proper testing is how you figure that out. Now, if you're sitting there going like, how in the world do I do something like this? Because then there's a method to the whole process of understanding that information to be able to create a roadmap for moving forward, then don't even fret. I've got you. Okay. Down in the description below, click on it so it expands. You will see that there is a link for a free 5-day health challenge. Now, it doesn't really take 5 full days to get through. You can get immediate access as soon as you click that link and sign yourself up. I teach you exactly how to do all of this and where it can be done and how you can do it from the comfort of your own home even. That way, by the end, you have certainty of some of the why am I feeling the way that I am? What is my real current level of health? And what is my plan for moving forward? What does that roadmap look like? That way, you can take back control and actually know that you have a super strong immune system and you know that your gut has amazing integrity and everything else about your health is working at an optimal level. So just click the link down in the description below and I can't wait to see you on the inside of that challenge. Thanks so much for being here. I'll see you on the next episode. God bless.